Princess Charlotte has become a symbol of this generational shift. Her public appearances have always been characterized by her poise and composure. But behind the polished image lies a young royal navigating the pressure of her circumstances. Will she embrace her role as part of William's vision for a modern monarchy? Or will she resist, seeking to carve out her own path? The question is one that no one can answer yet, but it's clear that Charlotte's reaction carries significant weight. Her silent struggle mirrors the very challenges facing the royal family. How to balance tradition with the demands of an evolving world. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla's struggle highlights another layer of this unfolding story. After decades of public scrutiny, Camilla's promotion to Queen Consort was meant to be the crowning moment of her journey. Yet as Prince William consolidates his power, Camilla finds herself increasingly sidelined. For someone who worked tirelessly to secure her place in the monarchy, her exclusion is both frustrating and symbolic. The younger generation, William and Catherine, have taken center stage, leaving Camilla questioning her legacy. While her title remains intact, her influence is fading, and many are left wondering if this marks the beginning of the end of her role as a key player in the monarchy. Behind closed doors, insiders suggest that King Charles and Camilla are facing growing strain in their relationship. As Charles leans on William and Catherine to lead, Camilla's frustrations have only deepened. While the public remains largely unaware of this silent battle, the cracks are becoming harder to ignore. Charles may have intended to secure the monarchy's future by elevating William, but in doing so, he has inadvertently left Camilla on the periphery. Will she fight to reclaim her place, or will she accept her diminishing role within the palace? The future of the monarchy hangs in the balance, and every decision made now will have lasting consequences. Princess Charlotte, a key to the monarchy's future. Princess Charlotte's story is more than just a footnote in the royal family's journey. It's a reflection of the delicate balance between old traditions and the new world William is working to create. At such a young age, Charlotte is already grappling with the pressures of being part of one of the world's most watched families. The royal household has spent years carefully crafting her public image, presenting her as poised, mature, and ready for the responsibilities she will inevitably face. Yet William's bold decisions have made her role far more complex, and Charlotte now faces a crossroads that could define her place in the monarchy for decades to come. As William and Catherine rise in prominence, Princess Charlotte is left to wonder what this means for her future. Once seen as part of the supporting cast to her older brother, Prince George, Charlotte is now being viewed in a new light. Her father's modern vision for the monarchy means that the expectations placed upon her are evolving. No longer just a child in the background, Charlotte is increasingly positioned as a key figure in the monarchy's future. But the question remains, how will she respond to the shifting tides of power within her family? The monarchy has always been defined by its ability to adapt to the times, but this transition has been anything but smooth. The silent tension between the older and younger generations of royals is impossible to ignore, and Princess Charlotte's reaction to her father's decisions has captured the public's attention. While Charlotte has often been praised for her grace and maturity beyond her years, this moment is testing her in ways that no young royal should have to endure. As William continues to reshape the monarchy's role in the modern world, Charlotte must find her footing amidst the chaos. Her journey is not just personal, it is symbolic of the greater challenges facing the royal family. Can Charlotte embrace the responsibilities that come with her position? Or will she push back against the weight of her family's expectations? Will she step forward and become an integral part of William's vision? Or will she quietly resist the changes that threaten to redefine her role? The choices she makes in these formative years could have far-reaching consequences, not only for herself, but for the monarchy as a whole. The royal family's journey has always been one of evolution, but the stakes have never been higher. With Prince William's decisions shaking the very foundation of the monarchy, the spotlight now falls on Charlotte. Her silent struggle represents more than just a personal challenge. It's a reflection of the monarchy's future. The decisions made today will shape the family's legacy for generations, and Charlotte is at the center of it all. Will she embrace her role as a modern royal, or will the pressures of palace life prove to be too much? As the dust settles on William's bold power play, the royal family stands on the brink of a new era. The rise of William and Catherine has shifted the balance of power, and the once unshakable traditions of the monarchy are being tested like never before. Princess Charlotte's journey through this transition will be pivotal, as she navigates the challenges of a rapidly evolving institution. The choices she makes now will determine not only her legacy, but also the future of the monarchy itself. The world is watching closely as this story unfolds. The pressure on William to lead the royal family into a new era is immense, but the challenges facing Princess Charlotte are equally significant. As her father consolidates power and reshapes the institution, Charlotte must find her place in this new world. Will she rise to the occasion and embrace her role, or will she resist the forces pulling her in multiple directions? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Princess Charlotte's journey is far from over, and the future of the monarchy hangs in the balance. The royal household has spent years carefully crafting her public image, presenting her as poised, mature, and ready for the responsibilities she will inevitably face. Yet William's bold decisions have made her role far more complex, and Charlotte now faces a crossroads that could define her place in the monarchy for decades to come. As William and Catherine rise in prominence, Princess Charlotte is left to wonder what this means for her future. Once seen as part of the supporting cast to her older brother, Prince George, Charlotte is now being viewed in a new light. Her father's modern vision for the monarchy means that the expectations placed upon her are evolving. No longer just a child in the background, Charlotte is increasingly positioned as a key figure in the monarchy's future. But the question remains: how will she respond to the shifting tides of power within her family? The monarchy has always been defined by its ability to adapt to the times, but this transition has been anything but smooth. The silent tension between the older and younger generations of royals is impossible to ignore, and Princess Charlotte's reaction to her father's decisions has captured the public's attention. While Charlotte has often been praised for her grace and maturity beyond her years, the world is watching closely as this story unfolds. The pressure on William to lead the royal family into a new era is immense, but the challenges facing Princess Charlotte are equally significant. As her father consolidates power and reshapes the institution, Charlotte must find her place in this new world. Will she rise to the occasion and embrace her role, or will she resist the forces pulling her in multiple directions? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Princess Charlotte's journey is far from over, and the future of the monarchy hangs in the balance.
If you look at the coronation footage, as the king and queen leave the thrones and head for the exit of Westminster Abbey on the coronation Saturday, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the king, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes. And that was because they were angry with Camilla. Camilla brought 20 Parker Bowleses to the coronation. There were 4 Middletons. All the people that helped Camilla get the crown on her head were excluded from that coronation, and they were furious. And not only that, Kate and William were angry too. And that anger, of course, Harry was angry, that anger went right through that small part of the congregation by the throne, by the centre of Westminster Abbey.
Princess Kate's refusal to curtsy to Queen Camilla during a recent public event has become a focal point of royal watchers and media alike, triggering a wave of speculation about what might be going on behind the closed doors of the British royal family. This incident, while seemingly minor, has brought to light the complexities of royal protocol, the relationships between senior royals, and the public's fascination with even the smallest gestures within the monarchy. For centuries, the British royal family has been steeped in tradition, with every move, gesture, and word often carrying significant weight. The act of curtsying, in particular, is more than just a polite gesture. It is a deeply symbolic act of respect and acknowledgement of rank within the royal hierarchy. The sight of Princess Kate, the wife of the future king, choosing not to curtsy to the current queen consort, was therefore a moment loaded with potential meaning. Observers at the event noted that as the royal family gathered, there was a palpable tension in the air. All eyes were on Kate as she approached Queen Camilla. Traditionally, as the Princess of Wales, Kate would be expected to show deference to Camilla, who, as Queen Consort, holds a higher rank. However, instead of the customary curtsy, Kate merely nodded politely before continuing on her way. The deviation from protocol was subtle, but in the world of royalty, where every gesture is scrutinized, it was enough to set off a flurry of rumors and discussions. Some insiders suggest that Kate's decision may have been influenced by a series of recent events that have strained her relationship with Camilla. It's no secret that the royal family has faced numerous challenges over the years, from the death of Princess Diana to the ongoing struggles with public perception and the media. These challenges have, at times, created rifts between different members of the family, and it's possible that these tensions are now playing out in public view. One potential source of tension could be the differing approaches Kate and Camilla have taken toward their royal duties. Kate, known for her modern approach and emphasis on mental health and children's issues, has become a beloved figure in the UK and beyond. Her calm demeanor and dedication to her role have won her widespread praise, particularly among the younger generation of royal watchers. On the other hand, Camilla's journey to becoming Queen Consort has been fraught with challenges, including her long and controversial relationship with King Charles, which was initially met with public skepticism. Over time, Camilla has worked hard to carve out her own role within the monarchy, focusing on issues such as domestic violence and literacy. Despite their different approaches, both women are united by their commitment to the monarchy and their families. However, the recent incident suggests that there may be underlying differences in how they view their roles and each other. Some sources close to the royal family have hinted that there may have been disagreements over how certain royal duties should be handled or how public appearances should be managed, leading to a build-up of tension that finally surfaced in this public moment. This isn't the first time that the British royal family has found itself at the center of public scrutiny due to interpersonal dynamics. The relationship between Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, for example, was often portrayed as complex, with Diana's popularity and modern approach sometimes clashing with the traditionalism of the monarchy. Similarly, the relationship between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and the rest of the royal family has been a source of intense media interest and public debate, particularly after the couple's decision to step back from their royal duties and the subsequent revelations about their experiences within the family. In many ways, the monarchy's public image is shaped as much by these personal relationships as by official duties and public engagements. The British public, and indeed people around the world, have a deep fascination with the royal family, viewing them not just as leaders, but as symbols of continuity, tradition, and national identity. As such, any sign of discord or deviation from the norm within the family is often magnified, leading to intense speculation and debate. The incident involving Kate and Camilla has also highlighted the challenges that come with navigating the complex world of royal protocol. While the rules and traditions of the monarchy are designed to maintain order and respect, they can also be a source of tension, particularly when personal feelings come into play. In this case, Kate's decision not to curtsy may have been a way of asserting her own identity and independence within the rigid structure of the royal family. The British royal family, with all its grandeur and tradition, is often seen as a symbol of continuity and stability in a rapidly changing world. Yet incidents like the one involving Princess Kate and Queen Camilla reveal the human side of this storied institution, where personal relationships and emotions intersect with the demands of duty and protocol. The refusal to curtsy might seem like a small act, but in the context of royal life, it carries significant weight, shedding light on the complexities and challenges that come with being part of such a unique and scrutinized family. As the public and media continue to speculate on the meaning behind this moment, it serves as a reminder that the royals, despite their elevated status, are not immune to the intricacies of personal dynamics. The balance between upholding tradition and navigating modern relationships is a delicate one, and this incident underscores the ongoing evolution of the monarchy as it seeks to remain relevant in the 21st century. In the coming years, as Kate and other younger royals take on more prominent roles, moments like these will likely shape how they are perceived both within the family and by the public. Will they adhere strictly to tradition, or will they seek to redefine their roles in a way that reflects their own values and the changing expectations of society? The answer to this question will play a crucial role in determining the future of the monarchy. For now, this incident stands as a moment of reflection, not just for the royal family, but for all who follow their story. It highlights the ongoing tension between personal feelings and public expectations, a theme that has run through the history of the British monarchy. As the world watches how this situation unfolds, it will be interesting to see how the royal family navigates this latest challenge and what it reveals about the future direction of the institution. Ultimately, the story of the British royal family is one of endurance, adaptation, and the constant balancing act between tradition and change. In a shocking turn of events, King Charles III has stepped down from his role as the monarch of the British royal family. This unprecedented move has sent shockwaves through the United Kingdom and around the world. Camilla, Queen Consort, has reportedly been deeply affected by this development, with sources close to the palace describing her as being in tears. This decision marks a significant moment in British history, altering the future of the monarchy in ways that were previously unimaginable. The announcement came after a series of private meetings within the royal family, leading to the king's official abdication. The news of King Charles III stepping down as the monarch of the British royal family has reverberated across the globe, marking a historic moment in the centuries-old institution. This decision, which has taken many by surprise, was made following a series of private discussions within the royal family. The gravity of the situation is evident, as sources close to Buckingham Palace have revealed that Queen Consort Camilla has been deeply moved by the decision, with reports indicating that she has been brought to tears by the turn of events. King Charles' decision to abdicate has not only shaken the foundations of the monarchy, but has also left the public and royal watchers in a state of disbelief. After years of waiting in the wings, as the heir apparent, Charles ascended to the throne, following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. His reign, though short, has been marked by attempts to modernize the monarchy and address the changing dynamics of British society. However, his decision to step down comes as a significant departure from royal tradition, where abdications are rare and often carry considerable implications. In the days leading up to the announcement, there were whispers of tension and uncertainty within the royal household. Insiders have suggested that Charles faced mounting pressure, both from within the family and from external forces, to reconsider his role. The king's health, public opinion, and the future of the monarchy were reportedly central to these discussions. Despite the challenges, many believed that Charles would continue to fulfill his duties as monarch. However, the final decision to abdicate indicates the weight of the considerations he had to bear. Camilla, who has stood by Charles's side for decades, is said to have been particularly affected by the decision. As Queen Consort, she has faced her own share of public scrutiny and challenges. The prospect of Charles stepping down from the throne has added a personal dimension to the situation, amplifying the emotional toll it has taken on her. Those close to the couple have described Camilla as being visibly distressed, struggling to come to terms with the new reality of their lives. Her tears are a testament to the profound impact this decision has had on those within the royal circle. The implications of King Charles's abdication are vast and complex. For the royal family, it means a sudden shift in the line of succession, with Prince William now poised to take on the role of king sooner than anticipated. This change is likely to have far-reaching consequences for the monarchy, as William's vision for the future may differ significantly from that of his father. The British public, too, is grappling with the news as they come to terms with the idea of another transition in leadership so soon after the passing of Queen Elizabeth. Internationally, the decision has prompted reactions from world leaders and royal families across the globe. The British monarchy has long been a symbol of continuity and stability, and the abdication of a sitting monarch is a rare and significant event. Allies and observers alike are now closely watching the developments in the UK, seeking to understand the motivations behind Charles's decision and what it means for the future of one of the world's most well-known institutions. In the wake of the announcement, the media has been abuzz with speculation and analysis. Throughout her life, Queen Elizabeth II ruled with grace, resilience, and a strength that few could match, leaving behind a legacy that will be remembered for generations. Yet, as her historic reign came to a close, what truly captured the world's attention was a mysterious message she reportedly received on her deathbed. What could this message have been, and what significance did it hold in her final days? Join us as we explore the terrifying message that our Lord Jesus Christ is said to have revealed to the Queen before she transitioned to the great beyond. The mysterious message which Queen Elizabeth II is said to have received from Jesus Christ before her death is covered in mystery and wonder. A selection of individuals close to Her Majesty speculate that the Queen received this mysterious message during a time of personal prayer and quiet reflection, as she often spent some time in solitude in Buckingham Palace. Some witnesses said that she was constantly speaking about Jesus all the time. Even the former moderator of the Church of Scotland, Reverend Dr. Lane Greenshields, stated that the Queen spoke at length about her Christian faith in the days leading up to her death. She was said to have reflected on the influence of her father's faith on her life, the relationship she had with Scotland, and particularly her obsession with the Balmoral estate, where she felt very much at peace in her last days. Everyone in the palace agreed that her last days were filled significantly with mystery. When she finally left, her funeral was held on September 19, 2022, at Westminster Abbey in London. It was the first state funeral for a British monarch since 1965, when Winston Churchill's funeral took place. The funeral service was attended by over 2,000 guests, including members of the royal family, heads of state, and government representatives from around the world. An estimated 1 million people lined the streets of London to watch the funeral procession, which featured around 3,000 military personnel. After the service at Westminster Abbey, the Queen's coffin was transported to Windsor Castle, where a committal service was held at St. George's Chapel. The Queen was then interred in the King George Memorial Chapel alongside her husband, Prince Philip. The Queen's funeral was one of the most watched television events in history, with an estimated 29.2 million viewers in the UK alone. The funeral was also one of the most expensive royal events ever held. Many people believe Jesus must have told Queen Elizabeth II that he is coming soon, and the year 2024 might just be his return. Some believe that perhaps he was pleased with the message of love and acceptance the Queen showed in her reign, which transcended religious boundaries, as her rule drew to a close. While what was revealed to Her Majesty keeps riding on the wave of mystery, one thing is certain. Queen Elizabeth's reign witnessed the glory of the British Empire, the rise of technological globalization, and major social transformations. As the role of religion in public life shifted, the Queen remained steadfast in her beliefs. While much of British society grew more secular, she never wavered in her commitment to the Church of England. To then try to understand why it would be possible for Jesus to send Queen Elizabeth a message in her final moments, let's explore her lifetime and her deep connection with God. The relationship between Queen Elizabeth and the Church. The coronation of Queen Elizabeth II wasn't just a formal event. Rather, it was also a religious one. Elizabeth was elegantly dressed in royal regalia, a symbol of British tradition and continuity. While the coronation was a day filled with splendor and festivities, for Elizabeth, this day marked a deep spiritual commitment, a promise to uphold the teachings of the Church of England for the rest of her life. The ceremony took place in West Abbey, a place that's become part of British history, where kings and queens have been crowned for nearly 1,000 years. In that sacred space, Elizabeth took an oath. She promised to maintain the laws of God and the teachings of the Protestant faith. From that moment on, she was not just Queen of the United Kingdom, but also the Supreme Governor of the Church of England. But despite the weight of this responsibility, and however heavy it must have been on her shoulders, the Queen discharged her duties with so much elegance, grace, and great poise. Queen Elizabeth also viewed being Britain's monarch as a divine mission. It is widely believed that her coronation was more than a grand display of royal wealth and power. It was a deeply personal religious experience for Elizabeth. This is seen not just from the oath she took before the Church of England on that day, but also from the reverence she gave to the officiating priests. The Queen's belief in Christ wasn't something she only displayed in big ceremonies. It reflected in every part of her everyday life. Queen Elizabeth II attended church almost every Sunday. The British royal family attended a traditional Christmas Day church service at one of the Queen's country estates. Queen Elizabeth was joined by her son, Prince Charles, and grandsons William and Harry. She also had a personal chaplain, and whenever she was unable to attend general service, her personal chaplain provided spiritual counsel and helped with private service. She was a regular at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. Even with her busy schedule, she was never too busy for prayer and worship, as she cherished every moment spent with the Lord Jesus. Perhaps it is the reason he reached out one last time as she drew her last breath. Queen Elizabeth II even included private devotions into her daily program, in addition to her public worship. She prayed every morning and evening, looking to her faith for direction and fortitude. Her personal Bible showed signs of frequent reading and reflection. As she had noted countless times in public, she overcame the difficulties of her position as ruler with the aid of these personal devotions. Queen Elizabeth II was unashamed of her relationship with Jesus. In fact, on the occasion of her 21st birthday, she made public commitments to serve God and the nation. Oftentimes, Queen Elizabeth II attended services at Windsor Castle to celebrate milestones in her reign and major global events, like the end of World War II. Having witnessed both world wars in human history, she strongly relied on her faith to navigate difficult times, a trait that has been a part of her lifestyle. Her faith wasn't just for show, it was a source of strength during times of national crisis like the Aberfan disaster in 1966, or the aftermath of the September 11th attacks in 2001. Elizabeth often turned to her faith to comfort her people, showing great leadership and maturity in the process. Queen Elizabeth's response to the Aberfan disaster will forever be memorable. During her 70 years on the throne, the Queen was witness to countless tragedies around the world. But there was one in a small mining village in South Wales that she never forgot. In fact, her reaction to the disaster in Aberfan was said to be one of the biggest regrets of her reign. Despite being informed shortly after the disaster struck, she waited right days before visiting the community. This delay in the Queen's response was widely criticized at the time and is something she is said to have deeply regretted. According to reports, the Queen was hesitant to visit right away, fearing that her presence would distract people from the rescue efforts and recovery. When the Queen did finally visit Aberfan on October 29th, she was visibly moved and emotional. Eyewitnesses said she shed tears during her time in the village, which was highly unusual for the typically stoic monarch. The Queen also met with grieving families and survivors, showing great humility for a highly esteemed monarch. She was handed a bouquet of flowers by a young girl with the heartbreaking inscription "From the remaining children of Aberfan." This moment had a profound impact on the Queen, and she is said to have remembered it vividly for the rest of her life. Queen Elizabeth II never hid her source of inspiration from the public. She often described the life of Jesus Christ as an inspiration and an anchor in her life, and demonstrated just that in her approach to the Aberfan disaster and several other internal and socio-political traumas she had to navigate, including the death of her daughter-in-law, Lady Diana, whom she loved so dearly. She saw the Lord Jesus as a role model who stretched out his hands in love, acceptance, and healing. Another important part of the Queen's way of life was the way she respected everyone's opinion and decisions. And although she always spoke about her faith and assessed situations by it, she never imposed any restrictions on others or judged others for their decisions. According to her, Christ's life had taught her to seek to respect and value all people of whatever faith or none. She had an inclusive approach to life, pointing to Jesus as an inspiration for people of all beliefs and saying that his love is a universal commodity. She also believed that those who follow him must understand this as well in their dealings with others. Queen Elizabeth II recognized the importance of religious diversity in the United Kingdom, and as such, she made efforts to engage with and support other faiths, including visiting mosques, synagogues, and temples during her travels. The late Queen also spoke of her personal accountability before God and how she desired for people to feel the power of God's love. The teachings of Jesus Christ were foundational to her life and her reign, showing just how deeply she valued her connection to God for her. It wasn't just about fulfilling her role as a monarch, it was about staying true to herself and her beliefs. Meanwhile, some people would argue that the Queen's devotion to the gospel of Christ was a result of her upbringing. How true is this? The formative years of Queen Elizabeth. Elizabeth was born in Mayfair, London, during the reign of her paternal grandfather, King George V. She was the first child of the Duke and Duchess of York, later King George VI, and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. Her father acceded to the throne in 1936 upon the abdication of his brother Edward VII, making the 10-year-old Princess Elizabeth the heir presumptive. She was educated privately at home and began to undertake public duties during the Second World War, serving in the Auxiliary Territorial Service. Queen Elizabeth II's faith as a Christian has been significantly shaped by both her upbringing within the royal family and the influence of her father, King George VI, on her religious beliefs. As a member of the British monarchy, she was exposed to the traditions and customs of the Church of England from a young age, fostering a strong foundation in Christian values and principles. However, it was her father's own deep faith and commitment to God that played a major role in nurturing her spiritual journey. King George VI was known for his devout Christian beliefs and his dedication to his faith. He was a regular attendee of church services and actively engaged in religious practices, setting an example for his daughter, Princess Elizabeth, to follow. Growing up in such an environment, she witnessed firsthand the importance of faith in her father's life, and how it guided him in his duties as king and as a man of integrity. The influence of King George VI on Queen Elizabeth II's faith can be seen in various aspects of her life and reign. Their shared commitment to the Anglican Church created a strong bond between them, with religion serving as a source of unity and support within the royal family. The king's emphasis on duty, service, and moral responsibility left a lasting impression on his daughter, instilling in her a sense of purpose and calling that would shape her reign as queen. The coronation of Queen Elizabeth II in 1953, following the death of her father, was a poignant moment that reflected the continuity of their shared faith and values. Taking the coronation oath to uphold the Protestant Reformed religion established by law reaffirmed her commitment to the Church of England, a commitment that was influenced by her father's legacy of faith and service. The presence of religious symbols and rituals during the coronation ceremony underscored the deep spiritual significance of the occasion and reinforced the importance of faith in the monarch's role. Throughout her reign, Queen Elizabeth II has maintained a close connection to her Christian faith, drawing strength and guidance from her upbringing and the lessons imparted by her father. Her frequent attendance at church services, participation in religious ceremonies, and support for charitable causes within the Christian community reflect her ongoing commitment to her faith and her desire to fulfill her role as defender of the faith. In November 1947, she married Philip Mountbatten, a former prince of Greece and Denmark. Their marriage lasted 73 years, until his death in 2021. They had 4 children: Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward. When her father died in February 1952, Elizabeth, then 25 years old, became queen of 7 independent Commonwealth countries: the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Pakistan, and Ceylon, known today as Sri Lanka, as well as head of the Commonwealth. Elizabeth reigned as a constitutional monarchy through major political changes, such as the Troubles in Northern Ireland. She also witnessed the devolution in the United Kingdom, the decolonization of Africa, and the United Kingdom's accession to the European communities. The years of her reign in colonies, however, varied over time as territories gained independence and some colonies became republics. As queen, Elizabeth was served by more than 170 prime ministers across her jurisdictions. Her many historic visits and meetings included state visits to China in 1986, to Russia in 1994, and to the Republic of Ireland in 2011. She also had meetings with 5 popes and 14 U.S. presidents. She lived a memorable life, which saw her witnessing her coronation in 1953 and the celebrations of her silver, golden, diamond, and platinum jubilees in 1977, 2002, 2012, and 2022, respectively. Although she faced occasional Republican sentiment and media criticism of her family, particularly after the breakdowns of her children's marriages and the death in 1997 of her former daughter-in-law, Diana, support for the monarchy in the United Kingdom remained consistently high throughout her lifetime. Her personal popularity was also on the high side. Elizabeth died at the age of 96 at Balmoral Castle and was succeeded by her eldest son, Charles II. Meanwhile, looking at the life lived by Queen Elizabeth II, one thing remains unclear. She reigned at a time where world politics were filled with iniquities and darkness. Yet she kept her crown, but most importantly, she remained in true service to God. What does it take to hold on to faith when the world around you is moving in the opposite direction? Let us explore Queen Elizabeth's enduring legacy in a few minutes. Queen Elizabeth's enduring legacy. The late Queen handled the challenge of modernity with grace and class, often balancing tradition and modernity in an age when the monarchy's relevance was increasingly questioned. It was clearer than rainwater and glaring to even the blind that she continued to apply her faith into her public and private life, ensuring it stayed a cornerstone of her reign. Even when it was glaring to the British populace that the Church of England was battling with a decline in attendance and debates over modern issues like equality and abortion rights were gaining prominence, Queen Elizabeth remained a force that held things together. She continued to endorse the importance of Christianity, while significantly respecting the diverse, multicultural society Britain had become. She never openly condemned anybody or any sexual, moral, or religious orientation. This balancing act wasn't always easy. For example, the question of whether the Church of England should allow female bishops was a significant issue during her reign. Meanwhile, the Church of England had been down this road before. In November 2012, it was an unspoken general consensus that enough people in the general card would vote in favor of women bishops. But in the end, they were narrowly defeated. As the supreme governor of the Church, Queen Elizabeth had to navigate these changes carefully, showing respect for the evolving beliefs within her church, while also staying true to her own convictions. She had her own beliefs about the issue, but she claimed she suspended it to reach a compromise. Her steady walk of faith possibly gave her the wisdom to handle such delicate matters with diplomacy and grace. Also, her ability to keep faith at the center of her life, even as the world around her changed, speaks to the depth of her convictions. This wasn't just about upholding a family tradition, but living her life in accordance with her values, no matter the circumstances. As we reflect on Queen Elizabeth's life, it is clear that her faith was not just a personal matter, but a public one deeply intertwined with her role as a monarch. One of her greatest achievements was her ability to modernize the monarchy without losing its essence, by staying true to her religious convictions while embracing social change. She demonstrated that tradition and progress don't have to be at war. It is widely believed that the not-so-new King Charles would also have to navigate a similarly complex landscape, and the Queen Elizabeth's example will no doubt serve as a guide. Again, her legacy is also a reminder of the power of faith in leadership. In a world often dominated by politics and power struggles, she showed that a leader could still be guided by moral and spiritual values. Her faith was her quiet source of strength. She never forced it upon others, but it was always present, influencing her decisions and her demeanor. As the world continues to evolve, Elizabeth's reign will be remembered as a time when the monarchy maintained its dignity and relevance. In a rapidly changing world, her faith would remain a central part of that legacy, offering a blueprint for how future leaders might integrate their personal beliefs with their public roles. But now the question on everyone's mind is, after the death of Queen Elizabeth II, how is the British monarchy faring? The aftermath of Queen Elizabeth's death. In the immediate aftermath of Queen Elizabeth II's death, Prince Charles, as the heir apparent, assumed a more prominent role in representing the monarchy and carrying out official duties. As the Prince of Wales and the eldest son of the late Queen, Prince Charles had been preparing for his future role as king and had already established himself as a champion of various charitable causes and initiatives. The transition of power from Queen Elizabeth II to Prince Charles marked a significant moment of change for the British monarchy. Years after Elizabeth's death, and while the institution itself remains deeply rooted in tradition and history, there are discussions about potential modernizations and reforms that could be implemented under the new reign. More so, questions about the relevance of the monarchy in the 21st century, the role of the royal family in a rapidly changing world, and the need to adapt to evolving social norms and expectations are being raised. People are wondering what the constitutional role of the monarchy is in a democratic society. Critics argue that the hereditary nature of the monarchy conflicts with democratic principles, as the monarch's position is based on birthright, rather than merit or popular support. Some question whether a system that assigns power and privilege based on lineage is compatible with the ideals of equality and meritocracy that are valued in contemporary society. Another talking point is the cost of monarchy to the average taxpayer. Critics argue that the royal family's funding from the public purse is an outdated institutional burden. This is said to be a legacy that places a financial burden on taxpayers, especially during times of economic hardship and austerity measures. Supporters, on the other hand, argue that the monarchy brings in tourism revenue and serves as a symbol of national pride and continuity. What are your thoughts on Queen Elizabeth II and her reign?